Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. I made it just in time. I made it. Talk about that. We've just been plugging in cameras and getting it all set up. Perfect timing. Now I want to sleep. Good morning, everybody. My fans are roaring already. Don't know why. Good morning, Dave. Will today's show and tell be the sooty mono print you mentioned about crabs? I hadn't thought about it. I could go upstairs and get it. I have some prints prepared for show and tell. Did I mention that one day? I don't remember, actually. Don't remember. We could do that. If I remember, we could bring that album down for next time. It's full of prints. It's got dozens and dozens and dozens of interesting prints in it, that album. The fans out there are quiet. The fans here are roaring, and I don't quite know why. I restarted the computer just a few minutes ago. And it's actually making strange noises, so stand by. We may be okay this morning, we may not be okay this morning. Oops. This machine got a very heavy workout yesterday, video rendering. So let me get my monitor on here. Something's going on. OBS is running 311% of CPU. No idea what's happening. Anyway, let's start the stream here, and if something goes down, it goes down. Good morning, good morning. So an update or something happening in the background, I really don't know. I don't see anything in my profile monitor here. We'll just have to start and see what happens. It looks like the stream software is using the Okay. I guess, I don't know, perhaps some of you have noticed, on the YouTube, yeah, new video up last night. I got it up at about midnight last night, and that's what the weekend was. When we finished the stream last Saturday, I said I'll pack up the stream and head straight for the cameras, and I did. I set the cameras up Saturday 10 o'clock or so, just after the stream. Put it all in the can on Saturday, and then Sunday, spent the day Sunday working on two things. Tracing the next print, the third month print for Kawasaki-san, and doing the video editing. And then a 2-hour render on this computer. Finished the video, cried at the ending. Not sure what to say about that. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying it. Crying at the ending. Not sure, you know. I'm not sure where to go here on this print today. But yeah, that's the last time I'm staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning, because boy oh boy. I missed a meta event with that video. I did, I know. I didn't realize that somebody mentioned it in the comments this morning. I think the video is 52 minutes long. I know. I missed it. There's nothing else to say. Just I missed it. You win some, you lose some, you catch some, you don't catch some. I got the 8 cats okay with the David's Choice number 8, but I missed that one last night. A 52-minute video about the 53 stages of the Tokaido. Sorry about that. what can I say? I was just glad enough to be able to get it out and get it done at last after a 4-month gap between videos, you know. Also, I had so much trouble with crows yesterday, you know. You see, one of the corners in that video was recorded down here in the shop, and I had everything set up and ready and rehearsed and ready to go, and there's a damn crow outside. Actually, you can hear it. I waited and waited, and it flew away, and I started recording, and it came back. So you'll hear on that video yesterday, there are actually crow noises in the background. Monday morning here. Yes, it's Monday morning. Yeah, the crow is gets his voice for posterity. So. We also had last night, and no relation to the video or anything like that at all, there was a bit of a disturbing episode here last night, and it might be actually partly to do with the crows. I was sitting at my desk upstairs. I don't know if you know the geography of the room here. I'm at the front of the ground floor here. My room where I do my work and sleep is at the front of the second floor, and we have a third floor up top above that. And there's balconies on the front of these rooms. At least they stopped their truck engine. So anyway, I'm sitting there doing the editing last night, and there is a crashing and crunching sound of like concrete and rocks and stuff outside my window. And the noise. Let's turn off the outside microphone for a minute. Outside mic going off. Remind me to put it back on after all the noise is over here. So. There's this sound of a concrete and rocks. And the sound was partly on my balcony and partly on the street downstairs. It's about 9 o'clock in the evening. So I go out there. And as I get out there, a crow flies away from the front of our building. And on the ground, on the sidewalk, right in front of our shop, is some broken little bits of concrete and mortar. And they have fallen from up high on the building. Up. This building has some decorations. There's sort of some fake roofs up on the front. And part of it collapsed last night. No big deal. I mean, we're not talking about a major collapse, but like bits of stone and bits of mortar and small bits of concrete fell off the front of the building yesterday. It's so noisy. What's going on? Noise, noise, noise. My God. So the building's getting old, and I guess just literally just bits and pieces of it are maybe going to start to fall off. But this is dangerous. This street can be very, very busy on the weekends. So this morning, once I finished this stream, Oyama-san's coming over, and we are going to try and get up there on the balcony, try and figure out what's going on, and then we're going to call the landlady. Because there's a legal issue here and a safety issue here. I mean, if pieces are going to fall off this building, concrete pieces, then we have to make sure that we're on top of this. Also, the legal issue, I mean, am I going to get sued, or does the landlady get sued? And I don't even want to know about this. Mostly, I don't want people to get hurt, and I don't want me to get hurt. So we're going to climb up there this morning, not climb dangerously, but look from the balcony and see what's going on. And this is not good news for any of us, because the last thing she wants to start doing now is spending money on a major renovation up there. But if there's something structurally going wrong, then it has to be taken care of. Okay, good. They're gigantic, you know, absolutely gigantic. This is bigger than like a dog. So these are gigantic birds. We'll get one walking in front of the camera at some point, but they are scary. There's no question they are scary. Seeing them up on the top of the trees, you don't see it big deal. When they come and sit on the balcony or something, or they walk around looking for food, these birds are big, big, massive birds. He invited me in. Too scary. No way. Oh, he's up on a tree nearby or something. He might be in front of our tree here. I don't know. So, I don't feed them. God, no, I don't feed them. No way. No way. Yeah, John's right. The heads, they've got this funny little dome. It sort of also sometimes looks like a hat. They're bizarre. There's a brain in there. These things are smart, smart creatures, you know. But scary. Scary. It's Monday morning here now, so the weekend is finished in Asakusa, and outside it was again another very, very busy weekend. Even though it's extremely rainy the last couple of days, there was a semi-typhoon that came fairly close to Japan. Turned out to be just whatever tropical rain, and it was hot and muggy, wet, and drizzly rain all the time. But Asakusa was still busy, and actually we had people coming in the shop yesterday. We're closed, the lights are off, the shutter is halfway down. I was upstairs doing video editing, and somebody actually yesterday came upstairs. They came to the front of the shop here. The sign, clearly says we are closed due to the virus situation, blah, blah. They opened the door and came upstairs. And what do you do? We can't actually open the shop. I don't have staff to do this. We're paying rent anyway. Whether we're open or closed, we're paying rent, so that part doesn't matter. But to hire a staff member to be actually open, that costs just as much again as the rent. And there really isn't any sort of steady stream of people here. So we really can't be open, but there is some demand for us. This person had seen our website and came down to see us. And that's why he didn't just give up and walk away when the door was closed. So he grabbed the door handle, opened the door, and came upstairs. So once he's here, okay, whatever. I chatted with him, and I came downstairs and opened up the actual shop, put the lights on and stuff. I apologize for the mess because it's just like a storeroom. But this is a bit frustrating because there is demand for us to be here and be open, but it's very, very small demand, domestic demand here in Japan, and not enough for us to actually open up, get the shop, do the vinyl curtains and all the wipes and wipe it down and promise that we're keeping it clean and stuff like that, And then hire a staff member to be here. We just can't afford that kind of expense for what is not going to be much business at all, But I opened up yesterday temporarily for this young man that was here. So. It's funny too, he actually bought a print. This was our first shop sale in like 6 months, and the young man picked up a print yesterday. And what he bought, this is bizarre, the way the world works. I did all the video filming on Saturday for the Tokaido video that we just did. And then up there on Sunday, I'm doing the editing, doing this and doing that. And I'm trying to select, this is sometime in the afternoon, I'm trying to select the final pictures. If you've seen the video, at the end, I do a little bit of a pan over 4 or 5 images, sort of almost randomly selected from the set. I was trying to show some people. So anyway, I chose one of them. There's this guy. They're doing some scaffolding work on a temple or castle, and Hiroshige drew a picture of some guy way up on the top of the scaffolding, not doing his work. The other guys are working on the building, and he's just looking out over the world and like, wow, I'm up here, So I chose that one to put it in there, and I'm getting it ready. I come downstairs, this guy opens the shop, and you know where this story's going. That's the print he buys. And we've got a bunch of different random Tokaido prints, they're not just sets. And that's the print he picked up, one that not an hour or so before this I had chosen for featuring at the end of this video. I'm like, whatever. Coincidences, you know. The chat looks pretty quiet today, and I think I can guess what's going on. You're all watching YouTube, right? Actually, I don't mind if the chat's quiet, that's okay by me, because I still haven't got through the last one. And on Saturday was just super busy. You guys just did not stop talking and chatting with each other. And the normal pattern is I read it at lunchtime. But last Saturday I did not get a chance to do that. I got my sandwich from the convenience store, and I started to look through it, but I didn't get even a third of the way before I finished my lunch, and it was back to filming. It was a long, long filming day on Saturday, so I still haven't caught up on what chat there was on Saturday. So if it's quiet today, that suits me fine. So. So it sounds like the crows have moved on. Good, 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 good. this part of this print too, it's going to be pleasant work. These little grass things down here, and I'm not sure what it is. It's bits of a fence. There's reeds and grasses. And Chon-san, our young carver here, he did the Hanshita preparation on this one for me. What he did was, we didn't have a really good, clear copy of this. We don't have an original print to reproduce here. And there was a few different versions of it on the net in reasonable, enlargement, but not really fine enough to carve. So Chon-san took a couple of those copies we found somewhere. I think one was from the British Museum. I can't remember the other copy. We enlarged them in Photoshop, but of course that makes everything blurred and fuzzy. But he then took the time and trouble. He used our iPad with the iPencil, or whatever it's called, the pencil or whatever. And he traced all the stuff. So the lines I'm carving right now were actually prepared by our young carver Chon-san. And he's got a good sense with a brush. He's got a really nice feel for this. So this is fine. It's really nice to carve. All the little lines here, he's given me a real good head start. He's given most of them just a nice little taste. It's not just some scratchy grass. He's taken the time and trouble, and every one of these lines here, he's brushed it really beautifully and smoothly. So my job now, especially in this corner, this is going to really be nice. My job for the next few days while I carve these is going to be pleasant. Just peaceful, quiet, pleasant work. Just trying to make these things look as nice as we can. And if you saw the video, the one that I put up last night, there's a little corner in there. I didn't pontificate too much about it, but I did try and bring up the point without being too critical of the 20th century workers. Most of them really don't care anymore. They don't care about the taste of the lines. They just want to get something in the shape there so it looks like a tree, looks like grass, looks like something, and the customers will be happy. But there's no taste to most of the carving that's happened through the last part of the 20th century. I didn't actually jump up and down and insult the carvers by talking about that, but it is there in the video. And it's, I don't know what word to use, it's taste. Just the older guys, each and every line they're carving, they just tried to make it look like the original brush strokes. It doesn't take any longer to do it that way. It's not any quicker. It's just your, whatever, just the feeling, And I'm not all that great at it. I don't have, 68 years of training using a brush, I grew up in the wrong culture for that. But I try and do what I can to get the feeling of those strokes, That's why Chon-san, our guy from Hong Kong, he's got a real advantage over me there, because of course he grew up using a brush, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. The brush strokes still at heart are the same strokes, So that's my handicap, my ABC handicap, Can't be helped. Young Taran-san, who you met on Saturday, he may be dropping in more on Saturdays, hope, So he's teaching this morning, so he won't be here today. But he has started calligraphy lessons. I guess Asaka Sensei, his carving teacher, has told him, go and get calligraphy lessons, So out he goes. He said he started just recently, so. And I should have done that, I guess, but I didn't for a couple of reasons. One is that I have the ultimate handicap for Japanese calligraphy, Chinese calligraphy. I'm left-handed, and it's not just the same as in the West. In the West, when you're left-handed and you work with the old pens, you get smeared lettering. Here, that's not an issue because your hands don't touch the paper when you're working with a brush. But the whole movement of pushing the brush or pulling the brush is dramatically different for a lefty and a right-handed person. And it really sort of classically, it can't be done. Modern calligraphy, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to do classical calligraphy, drawing the letters and shapes in the classically standardized patterns and forms, like we see here, then lefties just can't do it. Well, there's a conversation here now. I'm missing a bit of it. Sorry, I can't cooperate here with the conversation. I'll try and... I'm the straw that broke the camel's back. Is this good news or bad news? You're going to give it a try. Okay. I guess it's good news. Divorce coming, who knows, whatever. Yeah, the shop demand, we're talking about that. I don't know. This is also pretty much decided. You know, these things are all in the background. We're going to renovate the shop. We're going to get it open in January. We're probably going to start weekends only, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't know. So yes, this idea is just picking the hours. We will almost certainly start that way, yes. Message from Cameron, he's woken up it seems. Cameron's lucky today. You know, usually when he comes in on Monday, or when he starts work on Monday, there's a ton of stuff in the mailbox, but it's been a very quiet weekend. You know, we've found that now over the past little while, the past X months, that on big news days, when there's heavy news days and lots of action, and when our orange pumpkin is doing different things, orders are low, emails are low, business is low. So people are, I think what's going on, quite a lot of people are watching news, watching TV, watching this, and when there's heavy news, everybody gets into this doom scrolling. We just can't let go of that stuff, and other things get overlooked. So whenever there's lots of major news happening, our own business here gets quieter, absolutely. Traffic on the website is down, shopping is down, emails are down. So the last week or so has been quiet because, the news cycle now, especially in America, of course, is ramping up now, and it's going to be ramping up for the next month or so. So whatever, it's okay. We can't be always busy all the time. We're still busy at our production end of it here. We're okay. The vacuum cleaners in the hotel over there, they had a very, very busy weekend. Japan has this travel campaign going on, Go To campaign. And it's now including Tokyo. It wasn't including Tokyo when it first set up. But now the Go To campaign to try and encourage tourism and travel and restaurants and stuff includes Tokyo. And that hotel was jammed. I can't tell from inside, but outside, all the lights, when I was there yesterday evening, when I was here looking out my own window, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever, all the rooms are lit up, and I haven't seen that in half a year. That hotel has been Death Valley for half a year. Whether or not having all this travel and stuff is a good idea as far as containment of the virus, I don't know. But the decision has been made to try and open up a bit more. So the fear now here, of course, is that the same thing may happen here over the next few months that we see happening in Europe, of course, whatever. After the opening comes another round of virus. And we've avoided that so far, and I don't know. The hotel is happy short term, but is this a good thing? I don't know. A regular visitor. It's Monday morning. He will have lots of garbage today. Of course, they were very busy over the weekend, that company. Boy, oh boy, trying to keep awake today here. Yeah, the travel situation, eh? So, carving grass today. Yes, sir, carving grass. What did you do in the war, Daddy? I carved grass. Nice carving though. It's a little bit small, a little bit picky, but it's pleasure. It's pleasure. You know, whether it's, I don't know if I should admit this or what's good or what's bad or what's right or what's wrong, but in that video yesterday, you know, I compared two prints. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I looked at the carving of one particular spot. They were carving grass, as it happens. One particular spot on a print from Taisho and one from Showa, and the Taisho guys just did it more carefully and with more taste. But does it matter? I don't know. So so I'm carving this one right now. As I carve these little bits of grass, of course that's in my mind, you know, that some guy 50 years from now or 100 years from now or whatever, I say some guy, some person, whatever, is going to look at this and compare it with the Koryusai original. You know, whoever carved that, we don't know. And does it matter if anybody compares? And Dave's grass carving, he's got really nice shape, or he didn't quite get it because he's a Westerner and didn't do calligraphy. Whichever answer comes out, does it matter? You know, I don't know. But I think, you know, given now that this sort of work could be done with lasers and stuff at some point, or robots could do this, you know, at some point, the only reason left for doing it by hand and not by machine is for the guy who's doing it by hand to try and do it as carefully as he can, you know. Without that, there's totally no meaning left. In the old days, it couldn't be done by machine, but now that it can, The only possible reason for doing it by hand is to exercise the skill, you know. Lots of conversation happening. Good, 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 good. Sean Min's Prince, staying in the hotel next to the road. Yeah, that was fun. That wasn't my idea. The story happened just like I told you in the video there. Actually, it's funny though. When I was making this video yesterday, doing the editing, I wanted to put a picture in the video of that little garden and the gate. Here's the route out to the old Hokkaido. So I Googled up that hotel. All gone. All gone. The building is still there. You can see it on Google, whatever it is, Street View or whatever. But the website, it's gone. So I don't know. They've packed it in, or they're closed, or they've changed it, or whatever. I don't know. But while making the video, I was thinking we should make a reservation, go down there and stay again, you know. But it seems that it's gone. Good conversation happening. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll just keep at it here. I think it's time for a sharpening here. So just a moment. Slight pause in the carving here. Excuse me. Again, it's not broken, it's just getting a bit dull. So we don't have to go back to the 400 stone, we can start with the 1000. We'll do this on just 2 stones. I don't remember the last time I broke it. You guys remember? I don't know. I haven't broken it in quite a while. This is a good piece of steel, I guess. I'm taking care with it, and the steel itself is behaving. Although we shouldn't have a conversation like this, because as soon as I talk about not breaking it, we know where it's going to go. Doing sharpening reminds me of Ito-san, the old carver, and I mentioned in the video last night something, I just sort of tossed it out as a little thing in passing. I showed, as one of the Tokaido prints that I showed in the video last night, I showed one that was carved by Ito-san, the carver who helped me a bit, who was in that video, Remembering a Carver. And then I put a throwaway line there. I said, I forget the exact words I said, but I said something like, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's carved by Ito-san, and I'm saving those for the next video in that series. And already comments and one email came in. And there's comments on that video from last night already. Oh my God, there's going to be part 3. I want it today. I want it tomorrow. And maybe it wasn't such a good idea to talk about that, because there is bubbling inside an idea for part 3 of that. I'm not ready to make it yet, but there is going to be a good part 3, a very, very good part 3 at some point down the line. Part of it will be, prints that Ito-san made. As I said, I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of them from different stages of his career. We have the last block he worked on, his last TV block is here. And the idea, and I don't know if she'll go for it, but the idea is to get his daughter in, or to go over and see her and interview her. Well, not interview, talk with her about her memories of her dad and my memories of her dad, and we can look at some of the old video together and cry a bit and whatever. And there should be a good video. There should be a good story in there somewhere. But I don't know when that will happen, but I don't know when it will happen. So, and I suspect, I don't know about this for sure, but I suspect that she, being a normal Japanese person, probably doesn't watch a lot of English YouTube videos and stuff. And I suspect that she probably has no idea about her father's reputation and how it has changed because of those videos that we have made, millions of people. And that first video, the Remembering a Carver video, somewhere in the next few days, it is going to push over 2 million views. And she probably has no idea about this. So what might be fun is to arrange to have a sort of semi-interview discussion with her, with a camera. Get Cameron to come along and he can video it while I sit and chat with her. And then while I'm talking with her, have my computer with me and bring up the YouTube site and show her that thing and have some cherry-picked comments ready where people are really happy that I've brought this back to life and I'm keeping this guy's name alive and stuff like this. And show her these things live on that video. Whatever, I shouldn't talk about it, it sounds like a tease, but whatever. So there's lots of ideas for how to do that. So there is part 3 coming somewhere down the line. Yeah, John's idea about the Remembering a Carver video, we are going to do this at some point. If we do, if, when, / whatever, the idea about turning this place into a museum, there's absolutely going to be a Remembering a Carver exhibit. And John's idea that we should open with it and splash with it, it's probably not going to happen that way, John, because we're going to open very quietly, very slowly, training wheels on, open 1 or 2 days a week, just in Japanese, before the guests come back from overseas. So the idea that you've got there, which of course is a killer, massive idea, we're going to hold that in reserve until such time as we can do it properly. Absolutely. Because for local people, it means nothing. They haven't seen that. They don't know anything about that. So sorry about that. Save it for when you're back here. You can come and help me cut the ribbon or something. Someone says, do I miss Western food? Where do you think I live? I have access to any kind of food that we could possibly want to eat. You know? I may have made a mistake with that sharpening. I did sharpen it. I touched it up. It is now very sharp. But also, I wasn't really paying attention too much, and I had the thing held at a bit of a different angle, and I sharpened a bit too much. I cut a bit too much, as am I on screen? I cut a bit too much off here, and not as much there, and the angle has now changed. A few minutes ago, I'll exaggerate this, the angle was more like that. But where can I put it down here? The angle was more like that. And now I've sharpened it, it's more acute, and that tip is more of an acute angle. This is much more likely to break. I got myself into this, right? I said it's been quite a while since I've broken the tip. So we've sharpened it a bit. I was just a bit too careless, you know. Anyway, whatever. We'll just go with this. It's okay. It's nice and sharp. But I've got to be a bit careful here because it's more likely to break. Just that angle change, 2-3 degrees change. I don't know how much it's changed. Just a couple of degrees, that's enough. Any pro in any field who's got a tool, like a tennis guy with his racket, or the plumber on the wrench, or the carver with his knife, or whatever, any one of these tools, they're sort of, once you've been doing your job a long time, the tool gets really, you can appreciate tiny differences in that tool, something that a beginner wouldn't understand. A tennis racket could be light or heavy or whatever, or the strings could be loose or weak or whatever, you don't know. But once you've done it for a long, long time, every one of those things becomes super critical. The same thing here, just changing the angle of this thing by whatever it was, like 2 degrees or something. It changes the mood and the feeling here, and but it is now sharp. Ooh. Okay, can I? Actually, there's a bunch of messages that have been held here. I don't know why. I haven't been following carefully. There's a whole bunch of messages here held. The one message, how does this work? Twitch is holding this message. It's from somebody called Washi Treat. And the message is, I would be very sad without Indian food. It's so delicious. And Twitch is holding this. You're talking about Thailand food or something. I don't know. Okay, I'll allow this, but I really don't understand why Twitch is stopping some of these. So I want to know which word was naughty. I don't know. The word Indian appeared there. Indian food. This is bad. No idea. Sorry. Here's another one. Oh, I get why this one would be disallowed, but whatever. Yeah, the term is, I get a message now from Twitch. It says, I've added the permitted term Indian. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever, I guess. There's context and there's context, I suppose, whatever. It's Indian is an ethnic or racial word, so whatever. Anyway, so is Twitch, you're drunk, I guess so. But maybe there's, there's a backstory here. Obviously, there's been places where, there's been hostile threads and comments, and the algorithms are trying to be better safe than sorry. So it's okay. No big deal here. No big deal. So we had, I think the word Australian seemed to be banned the other day or something like this. So I don't know. It's okay. No big deal. It's a better joke than anything else. You're talking about food. I'll get back to work here. Leave you guys alone. So. There is a question in passing there. The YouTube video last night, in the Hakone print, there was an area that I think still, it was left over. There was a white rock, a white stone, which just simply the carver left a little piece out. And what I didn't, I tried not to make that video 6 hours long, whatever. I was just trying, I cut. And one of the parts I cut out of it was the next part of that discussion. After you see a mistake like this, if I'm coming along to make a reproduction of it, do you reproduce the mistake or do you fix it when you're making your own reproduction? And what would have been nice was to show a follow-up on that. The print we were looking at first was the Takamizawa one, and it had the mistake. And when I saw this, my first thought was that, oh crap, Takamizawa's carver screwed up. But when I went out and did a bit more research, you look at a copy in the British Museum and this and that and this and that, you see that the old copies, or many of them, not all of them, the old copies too have the white thing missing. So Takamizawa's policy at that moment was they copied the mistakes into the one they were doing. And the easy way to analyze that is because Takamizawa's roots, they had roots as, we've talked about this before, their roots was in forgery. The guy who started the business was a forger. He was making, what's the word, not illegal, but he was making reproductions of older prints and passing them off as being the real ones. They would age the paper, they would carve mistakes and stuff like this to make the buyers think they were getting an original. This is way back in the late Meiji time. The people who started what is now, or it's gone now, but the people who started what became Takamizawa were forgers. So for Takamizawa to copy the mistake in their version was a no-brainer. It's just baked in. That's baked into their philosophy. But the other companies, the little print version I showed, the Hanga Kenkyujo one, and I think the other Taisho version I showed, those companies fixed the mistake. And it could go either way, If you've got something that is clearly a mistake, and that if the original people would have done it properly if they had noticed it, then I guess when you're making your reproduction, it makes sense for you to fix it too. But if you're making something where it's not really clear, domo, arigatou gozaimasu, thank you. if you're not clear, it's a mistake. And you get into stuff like this. The people in Western music get into this. They're looking at the new version of Beethoven's X Symphony or whatever, looking at the old manuscript, and they find a place where it seems like some earlier copyists wrote some wrong notes down. Now, do we now change our version of Beethoven's Eighth Symphony to fit what we think is a new reading of his scribble? Do we fix Beethoven's mistake? Is it his mistake? Is it the copyist's mistake? I don't know. And that gets a bit more ethically dubious. Who's to say that's a mistake? I didn't think that they would intend to make that stone white, but at the end of the day, maybe they thought, yeah, let's just do this. One of those stones could be white. It's a gray stone. Who knows? So it's not cut and dried. It's open for interpretation. Dave's interpretation of that is that it actually was a craftsman's error, period, because it's such a simple error to make, you know. In fact, not only is it not surprising there's an error there, it's almost a guarantee in a print like that rock face with all those little areas mixed together. You're almost guaranteed to screw it up. And I do speak from experience, absolutely. I'm missing part of it here, sorry. The names here come up in different colors. Somebody's green, somebody's orange, somebody's blue, whatever. Some of the names are in such light colors that I absolutely can't see what they are. They just fade out here. What's this one? I can't see. あ、どうもありがとうございます。Thank you. どうも。はい、Thank you. Packages, Monday morning packages. I think most of these are from our printers, but I'm not quite sure. There might be something in one of those from that's worth looking at actually together. I'm not quite sure. When it gets time, we'll have a look. Tell you, receiving and shipping now has become almost my main job here, you know. Today's job, I'm supposed to be preparing the hanshita, the tracing for the third print in next year's series. You know, it's funny, this tracing for this one was prepared for me by Chon-san. And now I'm in the middle of doing this, but I'm also preparing the hanshita myself for the third print for Kawasaki-san. She's not actually so experienced at that kind of work, so she has, you know, begged off. No, you please do it, you know. So she's happy to carve, but she's not not so interested in doing the preparatory work for the carving. And, having trouble focusing on this today. I am tired actually, you know. I was up on that video editing. I finished the editing about 10 or so at night, I guess, last night. But it's an hour and a half or something to render it. It was an 8 gig of file up to Google. I made a mistake in the rendering. I had to render it twice. I forgot to do an audio setting. And then by the time I got it all done and put the messages up, it was 1 o'clock, and I can't do that anymore, you know. I mean, most of the guys watching this, maybe you're young or something, you could do an all-nighter with no problem. If I stay up till 1 o'clock and I got up this morning at 7 to do this, I can't do that. So I'm feeling I'm going to have myself a big nap this afternoon. Did Dave ever learn who sent him the tiny 3D printed printer? No, I know nothing beyond what we saw in the letter that day. It's just sitting here. I honestly haven't had time to play with it and explore it. There's no other staff here these days to pass it on and play with, so it's just actually sitting here. I'm sorry if the person's watching and they're disappointed I'm not actually using it to make prints. I don't know. Like Andy's here. Sorry I'm late. You're apologizing for this. I mean, what kind of a... This is not a... Well, thank you for the feeling, but it's so bizarre. Why would somebody apologize for being late here? If I'm the guy that's late, then I get it. I got to apologize, but I don't think anybody else needs to apologize for. Is it 2 weeks? Have you passed since you've been here? You're out and free to walk outside. Really? Really? Red Bull, no thanks, no thanks. I'm not going to start that. Go down that route and we're dead. It's going to kill your body. No thanks. My body just simply needs a bit more sleep. That's all, you know. So, coffee time. I will have a cup of coffee as soon as we're finished here. No caffeine. That reminds me. There's been a bunch of questions. The questions come at the end of the stream after I've already stopped this. And a couple of people have been asking, what's the eye situation? The next appointment is tomorrow. I'm going back over to the hospital tomorrow. It's the 3-month checkup. And you know, we're going to do the deal. It's glaucoma there, it's spreading, and they're trying to figure out what speed and how much of the eye is getting broken. So tomorrow is the next test. They put my head in that thing and they flash lights and they say, look over here, and they can test what part of the eye is not working anymore. Anyway, that's tomorrow's news. I don't think it's going to be dramatic. You know, you can sort of test yourself a little bit. You know, what can I see? What can't I see? And I am not aware of any dramatic change here. There's a part of my right eye that is gone. It's about 1/5 or 1/6 of the field of my right eye, the bottom left corner. But that's so there's going to be probably no dramatic results. Tomorrow's test is just showing the progression. And I don't think they're going to give me a number. It's 3 months since the last test. And he said come back in 6 months, half a year. And I was nervous about that, so I asked for 3. But I can see why he asked for 6 now. Because this thing is progressing across the eye inside. And in 3 months, it's not enough to measure maybe. So he's not going to be able to say. He's going to say, it looks pretty much like last time, you know, Dave. I really can't tell. We don't have enough data yet. But 3 more months, 3 more months, 3 more months, another. So a year goes by, and then you can sort of see the progression of this thing happening, and that gives you your timeline. I'm 68, my eyesight will be gone by the time I'm 98, or whatever the number they're going to come up. So nothing dramatic to report. I'm going for an eye exam tomorrow, but almost certainly he'll just say, yeah, we're holding steady, no dramatic change. Is almost certainly going to be the case. And every time we talk about the glaucoma, people are always talking about the weed and stuff. When you do the research, or when you look at what people have done research on, it really doesn't seem to be a big deal. I don't have the kind of glaucoma that is responsive to drugs. One type is when there's a very high pressure inside your eyeball. And you take medication and smoke whatever to reduce the pressure. I don't have that type. I have actually a low pressure inside the eye. So whatever's causing this is perhaps something else. So no prescriptions of green leaves for me, please. It's okay. And also caffeine. The doctor didn't say this, but I read different websites that said caffeine will help increase the pressure in your eye. I have stopped drinking caffeined coffee since then. I'm drinking caffeineless, but it seems perhaps that it's really not such a big deal. And the doctor himself said, no big deal, whatever. But out of, an abundance of caution, I'm trying to keep that down. And I didn't realize we are over it. My God, I thought it was about 8:50. It's show and tell time. What the crap? Okay, whatever, things are what they are. Let's have a quick show and tell. 9:20. Let me go and grab that package outside, because it may be something interesting here. So let me just grab that package first. nothing special. Actually, it's nothing for the show and tell. It's a kiribako. It's a Polonia box. It's the first mock-up sample of a box for next year's series. This print that I'm carving right now, because it's bigger than last year's series, is going to need a slightly larger size box. So we just ordered. We're starting the process of doing that. I got two things ready. I'm not sure which one. Let's do this. This will only make sense, I think, to those of you who have seen the video last night. Well, not it makes a bit more sense. This is Tokaido Goju Sansuki Sen, full set. It's a set of pictures of the Tokaido series. We did, in the video last night, we did the famous Hiroshige series of Tokaido prints. And in that video, I mentioned something about, so there's the horse. We know where we're going with this, right? You know where this is going. Who is this? I'll cover up the name. You know who this is. You see that horse? You see those stones at the bottom? We know where we're going with this. In the video last night, I mentioned, the video was about the Tokaido, the road, and specifically about Hiroshige's famous series about this. And as part of doing this, I went to the books and learned more about this to top up my memory. And I got some clear dates. I had never had it clear in my mind before. I knew Hokusai was the older guy and Hiroshige was the younger guy, but I didn't realize how much they overlapped and what was going on. And what I hadn't realized was that the very, very famous, super famous Hokusai 36 views, you know, the red Fuji and the Great Wave and stuff, I hadn't really realized that that predated Hiroshige's Tokaido by 1 year. And it must have come in, it must have dropped in the art scene or the visual scene or the print scene in Edo. It must have dropped in like a bomb, because that's the switch. And what we have here today, these are a set of images. This is Hokusai's Tokaido set, long before that era. This is when Hokusai was younger, and these are Tokaido prints from an era before we had that gigantic explosion, those two series, the 36 views of Mount Fuji and the Tokaido series by Hiroshige, which just blew everything wide open. These are Japanese pictures. This is before that switch happened. The famous ones we know about, the ones in the video last night, and the Great Wave and all those are Western art. They were heavily Western influences over the Japanese scene. And we've got to do a video about this one point, putting them side by side. Here's a Tokaido series pre that influence, and the ones we all know and love are post. And here's a couple of key points. These things are about the people. The landscape is only there so that we've got an identifying mark as to where we are. We have things like this. Because they didn't know how to do perspective, they separated front and back things by doing stuff like this. These are sort of some magical cloud shapes. It might be supposed to be mist, it might be supposed to be clouds. It didn't really matter. It was just a technique to be able to separate front and back. And yes, stuff in the back is smaller, the same as it is in Western perspective, but none of it is done with the actual vanishing point. Things higher in an image are supposed to be accepted as being farther away. So this is before that massive Western influence came in. Anyway, we're not going to go through the whole thing here. We've just got a couple of minutes. I just wanted to simply show a couple of points about this. We're going to scan this, put it up on our website, and you can spend all your time comparing them side by side. Let's just flip through a little bit of this. It's an album that works the same way. The album in the video last night, flip halfway, flip whatever, come back to this. This works the same way. And Hokusai's Tokaido here starts the same way with the fish market at Nihonbashi. And his prints, of course, are all about the people. They're nothing to do with the places. They're all about the people. He just hangs the hook. He had to do Nihonbashi, there's the bridge, but it's all about the people. Shinagawa, it's one of the early pleasure quarters. We all know the famous Yoshiwara. That was the famous place for going to meet the ladies and drink your tea and whatever. But Shinagawa was another such place. And if I understand it, I think this was a bit of a class level. This was a bit of a lower, well, it's a port city. This was the port, and this was a bit of a lower level of stuff, I think. I don't know. So right away, we've jumped right into it. He just hangs it. Shinagawa is known for girls. He shows some girls. So whatever. This is Kawasaki. This is interesting. If you saw the video last night, you saw the same picture. We saw the Tama River with a flat ferry boat crossing it. It's the same river and the same boat. But this one now, look at the scale. This is showing us a real river, actually. This thing was a difficult river to get across. There's no way you're going to wade across this one with people on your back. And the horses, the famous Hokusai horses, again and again and again. Kanagawa, we're back indoors, more girls. There's no comparison one by one with the Hiroshige prints at all. Let's zoom in a bit. We could do an album of horses, hontoni. Or we could do an album of that horse, because how many times do we see it? The thing about it is, though, we're laughing about this because so many Hokusai designs have this horse in it, but he's just drawing what he saw. This was stuff around in his society, and people walked around. There was no cars, there was no carriages. Japan never got into wheeled vehicles much at all, and a horse was one of the ways. This is Totsuka. I'm not quite sure what we're seeing here. I should study the history a bit more. This is the route. Just when we go now past Enoshima, out towards past Kamakura and Enoshima, there's the Buddha that was there outside in those days, inside a temple in those days. And maybe this is supposed to be the same one. I really don't know. This is past that area. This is past Enoshima, down the highway. Same thing again. The mist is indicating stuff behind the mist is out in the past. Howard the Horse, is that his name? So. No horse here, it's a bullock. And this is a riff on the Chinese folktale. What's the name of it? I forget the name of it in modern. The 10 stages of life. There was a Buddhist parable. Was it Buddhist? It was a Buddhist parable about the 10 stages of life. And it's a young boy and an ox. And I don't remember them well enough to tell the story at all. It's when you're young, you struggle and fight with things and you want things to go your way. And this young boy is trying to pull the ox the way he wants to get it going. And over the 10 stages of this parable and this story, and the most common one we see is now the boy is sitting on the back of the ox. The ox is going wherever it wants to go, and the guy is going along for the ride. And he's reached that stage in life where he's not going to struggle and not going to fight. There's things you can control and things you can't control. And there's a real interesting set of parables in there, And Hokusai brought this back time and time and time again. He was educated. He knew about history and about all this literature and stuff. And we see this image. So for him, there may have been an idea about showing an actual oxen as part of the picture, but his desire to pull this other stuff into it cannot be suppressed. So. And that would make a fun story and a fun set of prints. There we are. We saw this in a video last night. That route was it was for the people walking, and this guy is obviously a fairly wealthy person because he has 2 attendants carrying his stuff. It's his bedroll or stuff he wants to take somewhere else, no idea. And there's a interesting twist here. This is in real life, this person would be walking down the road. His gear is here, and this would be decorated with his family mon. the symbol of his house, who he is. But in making a generic set of prints like this, there's no way Hokusai can use anything that would identify a particular person. So he's just given us a generic pattern. And maybe he saw something like this somewhere down the road, but I don't think so. I think this is slight self-censorship, just so you don't get in trouble with anybody. If you saw the video last night, this is Hiratsuka. This is the place with that funny little, super little, tiny, round mountain. Hokusai doesn't even notice it, or again, he's not even been there. He's just making generic images up from not even having traveled by himself down there. Okay, again, we're not going to go through page by page by page. Let me zoom out a bit just to give you an idea of how the album works. As you see, what we've been doing here, it's an accordion-sized album, accordion-shaped album. We started at one point. This is the front cover. Japanese books open from the right. Away we go, and let's skip through this. We go down the road. This is number 12. We're now at number 14. Down we go, down we go, down we go. Number 19, number 21, 22, 24, 26. We get to 28. There's 55 prints in this series, but we are now at the end of the book. What do? We close it, flip it open, and we keep going. We are now page 29 and page 30, and away we go. More horses. My God, more horses. We should do this, you know. I don't have time to fool around, but it would be a cool thing. A collection of Hokusai horse. I hesitate to say horses. The same thing, look at this. We have the ox and the boy again. The ox and the boy. There's another thing about this. You know, these guys, Hokusai and Hiroshige, and these guys, look at, now they're fighting. This is a different stage here. They are fighting this thing. I want you to go this way, not that way. These guys were in-demand illustrators. They were popular, they were in demand, and they were busy. And it's, what do? You don't just send the same photograph of the same story every time. But yeah, there's repetition. You're living in a society where you look around you and there's guys walking with a horse and a kago. These are the things you see. So those elements come back time and time and time again into your imagery. 52, 53, 54. This place is still there. This spring is still there. It was one I thought about putting in my video last night, a comparison of the contemporary picture with the older picture. Has he got shoes on? I mean, like boots? And we're now at the Otsu, and it finishes in Kyoto. And this is a funny one too, and for the Kyoto one, he's gone back in time. He's put a picture of what looks like an old procession from Heian time. So maybe it's a festival going on, or he has jumped back in time in his picture. I don't know. Okay, there you go. Just another casual item from our collection upstairs. I know it would be something to scan and get on the website so you can see it later more carefully. But there it is, just for now. Okay, I am dazed this morning. I'm really sorry. I'm a bit tired this morning. I was up way too late last night, and I'm not so genki and excited and enthusiastic here today. So I'm sorry about that. I am now going to get some work done, and then I'm going to have a big, long nap this afternoon, and back to normal. Ready. This is Monday morning. The next stream will be now Thursday. And I'm not sure what work I'll be doing. It'll still be the carving, but there's another project that is coming down the track that can't be delayed, actually. So I may be working on something a bit more of a surprise project on Thursday. I really can't tell. We'll find out about that when we get there. and Dave here is heading for a nap time. Sorry about that. So, hey, if you haven't seen it, go check out the video. I had really good fun doing this. And the next one won't be 4 months. The next one is going to be much closer than that. In fact, I've already got part of it in the can. So it won't be all that long until the next video comes. So thanks, guys. Thanks very much for staying with us and putting up with the exciting days and the not so exciting days. See you Thursday morning. Bye-bye for now. Good night. Good night.